Hey everybody, howdy hoyo. It is your boy, Toxy Boyo. Excuse me if you can hear my fan in the background. I just want to talk quickly about the console wars here going into the ninth generation of console gaming. Isn't that crazy? Gaming has only been around, well, home gaming has only been around for about 40 years, and just the absolute leap in console capabilities is insane over 9 generations. Thanks, Nintendo, for creating the PlayStation and driving a lot of those innovations. Now, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are both coming out this year, and the Nintendo Switch is going to carry into this next generation. There probably won't be a new Nintendo until like 2023, something like that. It seems average for them, considering that the Wii U came out in like 2011 and the Wii came out around 2005. Now, the console wars in and of themselves is in like two people on opposite sides of the spectrum arguing with each other for hours and hours on Twitter. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid because it makes no difference. You won't convince a PlayStation player to buy an Xbox, and you won't convince an Xbox player to buy a PlayStation. What will convince somebody to buy whatever console is what the console is capable of, what it has to offer, and what you can get on that console that you can't get on a different one. And that is where exclusives come in. Now, Xbox fans don't like to talk about exclusives. And I understand. It's a sore subject. Now, this video isn't me taking a side formally, although, if you must know, I am a PlayStation fan and I will be buying a PlayStation 5. Hopefully that doesn't change your opinion. I am trying to talk about things as fairly as possible. In fact, if this changes, if this adds to my credibility at all, I like the Xbox 360 more than I like the PS3, even to this day. Almost 10 years later, I still think the 360 was a better console. The PS3 just got a lot of help from The Last of Us at the end there. PS3 was a troubled console. I can talk more about that if you want me to in the future, maybe. Maybe I could talk about Xbox versus PlayStation in the past, like the last 3 generations. But what we're going to focus on is PS5 versus Xbox Series X. And they both very recently, well, not both very recently, Xbox more recently than PlayStation, had game showcases that basically showed you what you will be able to play on the Xbox Series X and on the PlayStation 5. And sorry to say, the PlayStation, that entire showcase kind of killed Xbox. Like, there were dozens of games shown off, and Xbox showed off maybe a dozen. You know? And the thing about that, when it comes to PlayStation, is not every game that was shown was a PlayStation exclusive, although a good half of them were. A lot of them were going to be multi-platform games that were shown off on PlayStation. That is not a route Xbox went. So we can basically see what a lot of upcoming games are going to look like on the PlayStation 5, but we don't know what they're going to look like on the Xbox Series X. And that's kind of a missed opportunity. One more thing. Xbox fans are quick to point out that a lot of PlayStation exclusives are going on PC, which isn't true. A lot of them aren't. A handful of them are. Horizon Zero Dawn is on there, is on Steam right now, I think, or it might be coming out soon by the time I post this video. And Bloodborne is going to be on PC. Pretty old PlayStation games that aren't really bringing Sony that much money anymore, so they can now share it with the rest of the world. Every upcoming Xbox exclusive game is going to be on PC at launch. A lot of them will be on Steam, but they'll all be on the Windows Store. There's nothing really that pressing when it comes to the Xbox Series X that compels you to need to get one. Every game that they showed you, you can play on your PC if you have a good one. And if you don't have one, depending on how much the Series X costs or is going to cost at launch, you can spend that same amount of money on a decent PC with a 1070 and play all the games anyway. And maybe if you know somebody or you can get a good deal, you can get a 1080, which would be amazing. If that happens, you should get me in touch with the person that built your computer because I have some things to ask them. But if people realize that you can just buy a suitable PC, or if you already have a PC, you can just play the games on that, the Xbox Series X is not going to move a lot of units at launch. Because, quite frankly, the games aren't exclusive, and most of the games aren't very compelling. Halo is Xbox's biggest franchise. It pretty much always has been. It is what sold the original Xbox, it's what sold the 360. And the promise of it is what sold the Xbox One. Now, did 343 deliver on that promise? Not exactly. So we'll see what happens this time around. It's kind of hard to get excited for it. But not even talking about graphics or the state of the game as it is right now. We don't need to talk about any of that. You do not need an Xbox to play Halo. For the first time ever, at the moment that a mainline new Halo title becomes available to the public, you do not need to buy the newest Xbox in order to play it. That's a miss, if you ask me. The 360 sold gangbusters because of Halo 3. And you're just completely screwing the pooch on that. I know that Microsoft is really proud of Windows and computers in general, and they want to bridge the gap between their computer customers and their Xbox customers. They could do that a bit more gradually. Now, I want to talk very briefly about Game Pass, because from what I can tell, it's a subscription-based service. I don't have it on PC yet, where you just pay however much a month and you can play a very impressive library of games for just about free, which I actually am legitimately saying that the collection of games is impressive. I'm kind of blown away by it. But is that a sustainable business model when it comes to brand new releases? Especially releases that are supposed to move your new Xbox units? See, I don't see a person paying $10-$20 a month and then playing Halo for free is going to get you the same amount of profit that selling a brand new copy of Halo for $60 would get you, or $80 if there's a deluxe edition. I just don't see it working that way. And unless you want to hide features to the retail version of the game, which would make people, not get Game Pass, I legitimately don't see how you're going to convert people into buying the actual game itself. And since this game was crazy expensive to make, I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars in budget to make this game, you need to be selling copies of the game in order to break even. Game Pass is a good idea, but it needs more work. I don't even have any ideas as to how it could be generally improved, how you could make it turn a profit. Because look at it this way. If you sell 1 million copies of Halo Infinite at $60 each, you make $60 million. Easy, right? But if 1 million people have Game Pass for $10 a month, I actually don't know how much it costs, for $10 a month, and they all play Halo, then you only made $10 million. And I get that there's more to factor in because they're playing more than just Halo, they're playing a bunch of games, but at the same time, that hurts even more because you pay $10 once, you play Gears 4, Gears 5, Halo Infinite, State of Decay, the new Fable when it comes out. You play 10 Xbox games, and you pay $10 to do it. Instead of paying, considering that some of the games are older, maybe $200 for 10 Xbox games, you pay $10 to play them all. Are you seeing how Xbox is going to lose money in the long run with Game Pass, the way that they're pushing it and the way that it works currently? I'm not going to say that that's a thing that you should hold against Xbox and keep you from buying one. If you want an Xbox Series X because of Game Pass, do that. Although consider Game Pass is on PC. Now, since I've talked about exclusives, I want to talk about console power. The original Xbox was stronger than the PS2. The Xbox 360 was stronger than the PS3. However, the PS4 was stronger, or is stronger, than the Xbox One, but the Xbox One X is stronger than the PS4 Pro. Now, 3 times Microsoft had the power advantage over Sony. What are they doing with it? You know? If you buy a McLaren F1, just because you want to flex on your friends, you bought this just $150,000 car. I actually don't know how much it costs, and it's beautiful. It can go 240 miles an hour on a straight stretch of road. But all you do with it is go to the grocery store. You don't rent out a speedway or something like that and show off how fast it can go. You don't take advantage of the power that it has. You just use it for mundane tasks that your neighbor's Subaru can do. Meanwhile, I just bought a Dodge Challenger, I can't do 240, but I can do 210, and I'm always exhibiting my full power. Everything I do, I'm going 210 miles an hour to do it. And I'm showing you exactly what I'm capable of, taking full advantage of all my horses, all my cylinders, all my axles, all that sort of thing. I'm demonstrating the full power of my vehicle. And each game is a new lap around the speed track. And people are blown away with what it can do. They know that the McLaren is stronger, but they've never seen it in its full glory. That's Xbox. And I'm 1,000,000% convinced that it's going to continue that way. Because the Xbox Series X is coming out with 12 teraflops of processing power, and the PS5 will have, I think, 10.2 teraflops. Teraflops is something that people like to throw up a lot. It's not the only spec that makes Xbox stronger this generation. I actually don't have all the specs memorized, but I do think that it has just a generally stronger CPU. Although I don't exactly understand the point of external storage. Why do you need to buy a memory card for this console? We'll see how all that turns out. But I want to talk very quickly about teraflops because it is, in my experience, the most commonly brought up thing when it comes to comparing the Xbox to the PlayStation. And a lot of people don't know what a teraflop is. Teraflop, T-flop rather, pretty much stands for trillion floating points. And what it refers to is the ability to do work really quickly. The Xbox Series X is going to be able to render and process information and figure things out quicker than the PS5 is. It is going to be able to give you a quicker experience in gaming, if that makes any sense. It's kind of hard to explain. It's going to be doing math really, really fast, basically. It's going to be calculating all sorts of equations. However, if no developers take advantage of that, you won't notice. It'll be like if Conor McGregor fights, Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone is arguably a better fighter, and he does definitely have better odds of winning. But if he doesn't bring his A game, Conor McGregor's going to knock him out with his shoulder. And then people are going to just think, because of what they saw, that McGregor just beats Cerrone no matter what. There's just not a single way that Cerrone wins, because even though they know that he's a better fighter, well, not necessarily a better fighter, but he's just, the odds are more in his favor, he lost. So it doesn't matter, because people are going to come away from that thinking that despite what they've been told, despite what they know, despite what they've been shown up till now, with like reviewing each person's career before this fight, as of that very fight, Conor McGregor is a better fighter. That's what happened. The 360 was outselling the PS3 by a huge margin for years, because the PS3 was really hard to develop for. They could not take full advantage of its power, and it did not look very good. But when Uncharted 3 and The Last of Us came out, it blew everyone's minds. And it was helped by the fact that it was up against Halo 4. Not a whole lot of people's favorite Halo game. So by the end of the generation, because people finally learned, well, Naughty Dog finally learned how to take full advantage of what the PS3 was capable of, they thought it was better than the 360 and they started buying it. Now, I think there are going to be other factors that make the PS5 a more user-friendly, consumer-friendly, better option in the long run. I'm sure it's going to be cheaper. I'm sure the UI is going to be a lot better. I don't understand. I've seen screenshots that you have to pay for like Dolby surround sound to use the Xbox One, not Xbox One X, the Series X, the way that they want you to use it. And like I mentioned earlier, there's memory cards on the damn thing. The controller is the same from the Xbox One, and I don't like the Xbox One controller at all. There's, I'm sure, like I said, there's going to be a lot of nuance and a lot of unique reasons as to what makes the PS5 better than the Series X. I don't think that power alone is enough, because like I said, the original Xbox was stronger than the PS2, but the PS2 is my favorite console of all time, even though since then there's been a PS3 and a PS4 that blow it out of the water performance-wise. But there's just a lot of things about that console that make it pretty much the world's favorite. It's the highest selling console of all time, and it probably will never be dethroned. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is the console itself aesthetically, the PS5 versus the Xbox Series X. There were a lot of memes that came out around the time that the Xbox Series X was revealed at last year's Game Awards. You know, I myself said it looks like a goddamn mini fridge. And then when the PS5 was revealed, a lot of people memed that too. Said it looked like a Wi-Fi router, which I was totally fine with. We memed the Xbox, we should meme the PlayStation as well. Because, to be honest, they're both some wonky-looking designs. However, the Xbox, ever since the One, seems to be complacent, or at least perfectly satisfied with this box. I know it's called the Xbox, but it just looks like a box. You know, it's... I thought the Xbox One looked like a VCR when it first came out, and this one just looks like an upright refrigerator. There's nothing unique or really standout about the design and aesthetic of the Xbox Series X that jumps out at you. It looks funny, but when you first see it, you might not even think it's a game console. Because of the way that the top of the console is designed, you might think it's a speaker if you're uneducated. Imagine you're a middle-aged mom trying to buy your child a console, you see that, and it's just like, I don't know what that is. Now, the PS5 is going for something experimental. No PlayStation up till now has really stood out from its competition the way that this one does. It looks futuristic. It looks super sleek. I think the digital version looks a lot better than the disc drive version. I think they should put the disc drive in that black area in the middle. It would look amazing. I really hope that they have time to build it that way before it launches. They did say that the design is subject to change between now and release. But it looks like a whole different beast. You know? Going from the PS2 to the PS3 was this big, round, fat console. You're like, oh shit, that's got to have a lot of power. I can't wait to see what it's capable of. Then it came out. We don't have to talk about that part. The PS4 gets announced. It's slimmer, it's more sleek, it's more modular. It looks like a big black eraser. And it's like, ooh, that's intriguing. And then this thing comes out, and it looks even more different. It looks like a UFO, almost. It's like, that thing, it's got a story to tell. And I can't wait to experience that story. Now, this video isn't meant to try to sway you one way or the other. I'm not saying that if you want an Xbox Series X, you're wrong. I'm not saying that you need to buy a PS5 or I won't respect you, because I don't care how you spend your money. Unless you want to support the Patreon, that's always welcome. You can do that. That'd be fantastic. And if you're just perfectly fine rocking with a Switch or rocking with a PC, go for it. You know? Or even if you don't care about being up to date and you're still happy with your PS3 that you got in 2008, more power to you. More power to you. I'm not going to judge you for that. I respect it. I respect you all, as long as you respect me. Like I said earlier, though, I'm going to be buying a PS5 right away. I'm not even going to wait for the less buggy version of it to come out. I'm buying it at launch date. As soon as they let you pre-order, that's what I'm going to do. But with all that out of the way, that's all I had to say. Let me know down below what console you're going to be getting, if you're going to be getting a console at all, or if you think the console wars are just stupid in general. And as always, if you like what you've seen and you want to see more, click, I don't know, one of the corners of the screen. You'll probably get another video. I can't guarantee that, though. See you later.